Hello and welcome to the December 23rd, the Christmas edition of the Gold, Ghosts, and Guns Market Report. My name is Tom Luongo. We've got a lot to talk about. Before we get started with today's commentary, I know this has been a difficult month, certainly since the midterm elections, for many of you and me. It's not been easy trying to figure out what's happening. We're definitely reaching an inflection point in history. Things are chaotic. Things are tense. And it's caused a lot of consternation and, in some ways, some bad feelings. The subscriber count this month is down for the first time since I started this process. It's not down badly. It's just a couple of people, 2 or 3. But there have not been as many replacements as there has been attrition. This has been a difficult month. So this is not a grouse on my part. This is a, what's the word I'm looking for? This is actually the opposite of that. I'm ecstatic given how hard I've gone after President Trump and how difficult these last few weeks have been in the markets and everything else politically, that y'all are still here. I don't think you'll ever truly understand how much I appreciate all of you. You allow me a level of independence that I didn't have even when I worked for Newsmax. And they gave me a pretty wide berth at Newsmax. But I can say things here that I couldn't say on my weekly reports for them. And it's that independence, it's that understanding that I have to be able to be fearless in order to make good choices. I may not be right all the time. You know, the January issue of the newsletter will, of course, be a list of the, attaboys and the failures. Right? I think as my dad had a thing up as the oh shits and the attaboys. And it takes 1,000 attaboys to get a small raise, and it takes one oh shit to lose everything. Right? This is a great thing that he had on his wall of his office at the hospital where I worked for him in the maintenance department. It's great stuff. So I do truly appreciate y'all sticking by me. I truly appreciate you're the greatest Christmas present a guy like me could ever ask for. This is hard. What we do is hard. People like me and people like you, it's hard. It's hard to stand up and say, this is what I want to support in a world where everybody thinks you're wrong and where everybody thinks that you're a lunatic or whatever. So, and then to add Patreon's betrayal on top of it is very difficult. Doesn't make things any easier. Okay. So, with that said, to all 232 of you, I think, who are current subscribers, Merry Christmas. Even if you're not Christian, Merry Christmas. And Christmas is not about that for me. It's always been about that sense of family and community, and that's what we're trying to do here. So I made better by your input. I made better by your support. And I'm challenged every day, and I appreciate it. As a former scientist, I know that failure is the main mechanism by which we learn. Those of you who still think that The Last Jedi is not a great movie, go watch that scene between Yoda and Luke again to remind yourself. it's that moment where you're working on something and, you're sitting there testing a hypothesis that you're right about, and then all of a sudden you get a result back, and that's completely opposite of what you were expecting. And you're like, oh, I don't know 1/10 of what I think I know. That's what's important. Failure makes you stronger, makes you better. Being out on a limb every day makes you better. It's not safe what you do. It's not safe what we do here. It's hard. All right, let's go on to it all. So if I don't know what your plans are for your holidays, I couldn't possibly know what they are, but I hope that they're fantastic. And if we don't speak much between now and after the first of the year, again, enjoy your holiday, enjoy your time together with your family and your friends and your community. And we'll take a couple of days and we'll get away from all of this nonsense. By the way, go see Mary Poppins. It's freaking awesome. All right, best Christmas present ever, aside from you guys. All right, so let's talk about what's happening here. So on Wednesday, when we spoke the last time, we had just gotten the shock announcement from Donald Trump that he was pulling out of Syria. By the end of the day, we were also pulling out of Afghanistan, and Secretary of Defense Mattis had quit. None of these things are bad in my mind. I have a lot of respect for James Madison as a person, and but he's obviously had become the wrong person to be running this Department of Defense for Trump at this moment in time. It looks to me like Trump has finally figured out that the neocons don't care about anybody except themselves, and that he has been boxed in all fronts, and it was time for him to either lash out or sink into irrelevancy. When the one thing you were trying to save, your reputation, was never going to be given back to you, it's at that point that even a narcissist like Trump has to realize that the way back from that is to do what you promised. So Trump is in a very dangerous position now that he's finally decided to stand up and fight. Now that he got his shot of political Viagra, as James Jatras put it this morning on Strategic Culture, yesterday, now he's in for a real fight. Now the fight begins. Now guys like Lindsey Graham truly show their real colors. Graham is going to lead a charge within the GOP to have Trump impeached and removed from office. It was the first thing I thought of when I saw that. I felt that Trump was serious about this. And I saw the reports of him making this decision, by just folding his arms and saying, no, this is what we're doing. The hell with you. We're done. When I believed that, I knew that the next thing that would happen was Lindsey Graham would try and destroy Trump. And he's already started, and it's not going to stop. Fox News has turned against him. Everybody's turned against him except for me, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and a lot of his base. Everybody else in the media. Everything else. Excuse me. My iPhone is making noise that it should not be making. Everything else, everyone else is going after him. Everyone. And this is where it starts. On January 3rd, Pelosi will start the process of impeachment. If not that day, very soon. They are already game planning how they're going to kill him off. The same way that they killed off Nixon for pulling out of the Vietnam War. This is where the rubber meets the road. Pat Buchanan had an article the other day as to whether or not Trump had the stones to actually pull this off. I don't know. We'll find out. If he does, it'll be great. And the way he can do this right now, the way he can stick it to everyone, And this was floated at me on my live stream on Friday night, and I was so not in the mood to discuss possible replacements for Mattis, I just let it slide. But then when I was reading Jatris's article this morning, he was talking about, who Trump should appoint or what the rumors are and everything. And the person, and I can't remember who said it, but the person who said it should be Tulsi Gabbard, the Congresswoman from Hawaii. Yes. First things first, you get Gabbard out of the House. Not that her replacement from Hawaii is going to be any less of a crazed socialist than she is when it comes to economic matters. But on every other front, Gabbard is brilliant. Is a brilliant choice. It empowers her within the Democratic Party. Raises her profile to be an anti-war insurgent for the 2020 election, presidential election. She's a woman. She's a veteran. She's anti-war. She's been to Syria. She's the exact opposite of Lindsey Graham. She goes to Syria and talks to the people on the ground. She goes and talks to the Assad government. She goes and talks to the people literally fighting on the ground, the terrorists. Lindsey Graham goes and visits the troops, dresses up in fatigues, and creates photo ops for the MIC and for Israel. And she turns around and says, no, none of that. This is all awful. It's the perfect choice because now Trump gets to show that he's serious about pulling the troops out. 1. 2, he's willing to reach across party lines. 3, Trump likes to surround himself with attractive women. Never forget that. And then 4, it sets up a complete shit show in the Senate confirmation hearings. Graham will, of course, be Lindsey Graham. But what are the Democrats going to do? What's Feinstein going to do when one of her progressives is destroyed, is up there having been nominated by Trump? They're going to shoot her down? They're going to come completely out of the woodwork for this? They're going to show everybody what their stripes truly are? And who owns each of the stripes on their back? Like freaking NASCAR drivers? This is what he should do. It should not be Rand Paul, for anybody in the audience thinking. Rand Paul needs to stay in the Senate. We have a very thin, real majority in the Senate. And Graham will turn people against him. If it looks like they can get anywhere close to 60 votes or whatever they need, they can get to 67 very quickly. The arm twisting will be unbelievable. They will go for whatever they have to go for in order to stop Trump from doing this. And Trump needs to take to the television set every night between now and the new Congress, especially now during the shutdown, and just tell us, tell his base, tell everybody what it is that's going on, who's owned by whom, and really open everything up. It's what he should do right now. No half measures. Full-on war. Expose these people left, right, and center. Stop cutting deals. They've betrayed you on every deal they've made with you. Throw it all out there. The unredacted FISA documents, the unredacted 302s, all of it. Get it all out there. Go directly to the people. Disempower the media. Go beyond them. Ignore them. Let MSNBC go sink further into anti-Russian insanity, and then call for a summit in Damascus amongst all the major players. You go to Damascus and talk to Assad. And let them all just lose their minds. At that point, they'll have to shoot him. These people are vile and they are evil. And the only way for us to truly win this fight is to expose them completely and have them overstep what's left of the boundaries so far that we refuse to sit quietly while it happens. It's the only thing left. That's what needs to happen here. That's what the people in France are doing. I note with glee this morning that Macron who's barely still in power, that he's now going to send French troops to replace the U.S. troops in northern Syria. I wonder how many people who are wearing yellow and blue vests this morning in Paris how long they're gonna go for that shit. Okay, it's all falling apart very quickly for them. And now is the time. This is why I was so angry with Trump. You have them on the ropes. You have them desperate. You have them doing all of these insane and idiotic things. Open voter fraud and stealing and ballot harvesting, all of this stuff. And you have the nerve to stand there and roll over. Have your bluffs called like you're some third-rate first-timer at the World Series of Poker. Dude, you're on the biggest stage there is. There is no game in the world with higher stakes than this one. And it's time to fire President Bolton. Send his ass packing. For pure disloyalty over how he treated U.S.-Chinese negotiations. Y'all know I'm right about this one. We'll see. We'll see if he does it. I hope he does. I don't have high hopes that he'll survive this. But the harder he pushes, the more he pushes them, the more potential there will be for an own goal on their part. They are not used to being pushed this hard. They are not used to not getting their way. These people like Lindsey Graham are not strong. They're weak. He doesn't know how to play this game when it's for real. He thinks he does, but he doesn't. Again, all of these people for so long have had so much power backing them. But that's all out in the open now. Now you go for the jugular. Now you bomb the poppy fields in Afghanistan, metaphorically speaking. You bring everybody home. And you nominate somebody for Secretary of Defense who will stand by your side and do it, regardless of how much they may disagree on other issues. But on this issue, the issue of war, there is no other issue at the presidential level that's more important than this. At the personal level, it's free speech. It's the deplatforming. It's all that other stuff I talked about previously. But when it comes to this, it comes to what Trump can do here, and how to drain the swamp, MAGA, all this other crap. All of that, none of it matters if you do not bring the troops home and dismantle the bases. Trump should get on the phone with Rouhani right now and say, I will meet you at your convenience, somewhere where the optics are bad for me. He should force Mike Pompeo to go sit down with the Iranian foreign minister. And if Pompeo refuses to do it, he should fire him immediately. That's what he should do. I don't have that much faith in Donald Trump. Let's talk about gold. All right, so on Wednesday, I was not really convinced that we were getting much push through in gold. I was actually really quite worried that we weren't going to get a further washout. And what we did get was a retest of the previous low here, and then we also got a push up beyond or just to and through 1270, but we couldn't hold it coming into Friday. It was there, and then it faded into the close. the European Union was manipulating headlines, and then there was the collapse of equity markets into the close on Friday, seeing liquidity dry up. But we got a little bit of short covering. So we've got this movement. We got a retest of the breakout level. We got a retest here, a potential 2-bar reversal. That failed. Then we got a break higher. So this is ultimately a good bar. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing to get excited about here, like in a long-term sense. This was all just tactics. 1,300 is where we start to get in. It starts to get interesting. You'll note we closed at 12.58 on Friday. We have a coin flip as to whether or not we're going to go up or down this week. Don't kid yourself. Coming into a holiday like this, that was exactly what was designed, what was desired on a closing basis. But what's more interesting than that is watching the euro price of gold. Now, this is the price of gold in euros. And I've talked about this before. And I've talked about this 1,100 level. And this 1,100 level was completely broken down this week. The euro collapsed into the close on Friday, and gold held its gold pulled back from its extreme high, but it didn't. But it was mirrored in the collapse of the euro. But the damage had already been done. So gold hit 12.70 when the euro was at $1.14.5, and then when the euro closed, dropped 80 pips, gold moved down along with it, and that's why this bar looks the way it does. But look at this. We got breakdown of 1,100, 1135 or so is what's next. Is this 1130 area? That's where gold is in euros, and this is telling you that's where the resistance is, and what this is telling you is that the market in Europe is starting to get very worried. This is safe haven flows. That retail investors in Europe are now getting very worried about where they should put their money. And a lot of them are moving it into gold. I mean, look, gold in euros is up 10% since September. While equity markets are down 20, 25. And the euro itself, they continue to try and hold it together above $1.13. Then trading this week should be interesting. Oh, and one other thing to talk about, and we should probably leave this for Wednesday, but remember that that Christmas Eve and that Christmas and New Year's always fall on the same day of the week, right? So the final day of trading this year, for the first time in a while, will actually be New Year's Eve. It'll be a half day of trading, I think, right? But for the first time in a while, Christmas has been falling on the weekends for the last few years. Now that Christmas is on Tuesday, we won't get yearly closes until December 31st. That will be interesting. It will be a Monday. It will be a half day. It'll be interesting. It's not like the year's going to end on the 28th like it has the last couple of years. Okay. This is something to consider, that we've got the yearly closes coming up. And right now, I want you to look at the Dow. I still hold to my basic thesis. I really do. That the Dow is going to hold up much better than the European markets, and that once the European markets are done giving you any kind of false hope that they have it all under control, money's going to flow into U.S. equities it will be scary. And watching the rising volume here, and the reason I pulled up the investing.com chart as opposed to building my own was because on my own charts I don't have all the volume data, I wanted you to see the rising volume. That as this is dropping, we're getting rising volume, and we're getting a peak in volume here. This is the daily chart. This is not a weekly chart. This is a daily chart. Okay, and so big moves down on big volume, usually the sign of capitulation. It may not be quite there yet, but we're getting very close. It's not going to happen on Monday. Monday's Christmas Eve. And we could have a couple of ugly trading days before the end of the year. We could even continue this kind of weakness into the first week in January, but I don't think so. I think we're going to get climax selling here. Now, I was comfortable on Wednesday or Thursday thinking that we would have, that this would go on for another couple of weeks, and then we get into a, maybe right around, the time when they decide to vote on Brexit or something, that we'd get a capitulation. But this is beginning to feel a lot like the late 2015, early 2016 collapse in the markets and in oil and everything else, all happening at the same time. Remember, the Chinese went through a shock devaluation in the summer of that year, and then by the winter, and the Fed started raising interest rates, and the Fed raised interest rates more than people wanted them to. And in December of 2015, they raised interest rates for the first time. It's what we wanted them to do. And it caused the same kind of panic. And then the stock market bounced off of that and bounced off of an extreme low in oil and then moved higher. And for political reasons, I think Wall Street is trying to punish the oil markets as well. So, and I think it has everything to do with, Russia and Iran. Just like I think that that's what happened in January of 2016 as well. They were trying to overthrow Putin by bombing the oil markets. That's how dumb these people are. I'm dead serious when I say they're dumb. They're really smart, but they're dumb. You can be really intelligent and still be really freaking stupid. So, watch for this. Watch for climax selling. It's going to happen soon now. If not Friday, then this. If we don't violate this low by the end of the year, and we get any kind of move back above 23 grand, everybody will be worried. Everybody will still be fearful and be like, oh, God, buy. Contrarian investors are looking for the bottom here. Now, from a bigger macro perspective, the Dow will very likely close on a bearish engulfing bar for 2018. Just like the DAX, just like the FTSE. This was something that I did not really expect to happen, or I was not handicapping that. And certainly from a quantitative perspective, I wasn't expecting it, right? From a probability perspective, I wasn't expecting it. But looking at some capital flow numbers and whatnot, I can see it. The United States is just, the markets don't know what to do at this point. And there's real liquidity issues happening behind the scenes. The collateralized loan market is breaking up, is blowing up. High yield credit spreads are blowing out. That's causing real liquidity issues across the board. And, you can't really suck much blood from a stone like gold, which is already mired in a bear market. But you can certainly take the fluff off the Dow and the S&P, and certainly the NASDAQ, which is the most ridiculous bubble of all time. One of the most ridiculous bubbles I've ever seen. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, Netflix trading at where it's been trading at is retarded. Okay? Facebook, same thing. I mean, it's like, let's not kid ourselves here. So, Facebook hasn't had growth in 2 years, and yet it's still trading like a growth company with 160 PDE of 160 or some ridiculous nonsense. I don't know, but I don't even know what Facebook's PDE is, and all I know is that they're all 50% from their high because, like Patreon and the rest of them, they breached the public trust, and it's now time to bail on that company. They're trying to get rid of Zuckerberg in order to try and hold on to their panopticon. It's not going to work. They're trying to, as I've said from the beginning, they're going to make Mark Zuckerberg into the scapegoat for Facebook's troubles, and then hope that that's going to be enough to get people to stay with the platform and trust the platform again by getting rid of Zuckerberg. It's not going to work. The real villains here are the guys on Wall Street who created this mess. As always. All right, that's all I've got for today, guys. I have a lot to do to get prepared for Christmas, and I really do want to take a couple of days away from this and just enjoy my time with and get away from this stuff. I think it's important that we all jack out of the matrix every once in a while and just not follow this stuff religiously. Yeah, it feels like, when you come back to it, it feels like you're completely out of touch, but sometimes that's what you need to do. regain your perspective and regain your focus and regain your center. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've got a little bit of last minute shopping to do, and some cleanup around the house because I am having a guest over, and my house just needs to be cleaned because any good excuse for getting the house cleaned. All right, so you guys take care. You have a great, great holiday. Thank you so much for just being here. I really appreciate it. Be well. Keep your stick on the ice.